We just gave grips for no reason, okay? So when he's in, it's my responsibility to give him a reason to bring his hands to me. So this is a lazy guard. My legs are in position, yes, but what do you feel? Absolutely nothing. So that means there's no reason for his frames. So we need to be locking up, and then we got to start giving reasons that his frames need to exist. Because if his frames don't exist, then I'm already breaking him down. So I need to give him a reason why the frames need to be here, so that now when I make his hands disappear, it starts to make a little bit more sense. Okay, so we're going to break him down. Okay. Slide, control the wrist. Through here, when the hand is forward, he has more power. I'm in a weird position, he's not. So I like to push the hand back as far as I can. This puts him at a deficit and puts me into a position of power. So now through here, if he starts looking to try to sit up, okay, this is why I'm holding onto his head. We steer him to one side so that we can release and start looking to come in for a Kimura. Through here, that's my chance to take him over, or potentially speaking, Hans is going to start trying to posture. Okay, so now through here, this is when we can hit our hip over, looking over that shoulder. Okay, what I've been finding a bit for myself that gives me also a little bit more opportunity is as I'm here, okay, in this position, I kind of struggle sometimes a little bit. So what I tend to try to look for a little bit more now is as I'm here, I'm going to tuck this elbow inside, and now I'm going to drive over that shoulder so that I can hit my upa by bringing him forward a little bit more. Through here, I love Kimura, but it sucks for mount. So the moment I land through here, I drop my hip, make my back step. Okay, through here, I draw myself up. I like to lay on their face a little bit more now. Through here, my grips have been changing quite a bit over the years. I have been changing to where I'm gripping hand over hand a lot more, as opposed to hand over wrist. I'm gripping hand over hand. Okay, then draw him in, go slow, and then you can make your lock. Getting my Americanas and my Kimuras, the old grip through here. Yeah, not wrong, I still use it, but when I have the opportunity, I tend to play a lot more hand over hand. Okay, this through here allows me to switch whichever grip I like, but also I'm finding it puts a lot more power directly where I want it to be, because this hand is good, but I want more pressure over here. And so when I double them up, one over the other, because this one is really, for me, it's only a downward compression. That's all this grip ever was. It's not a grip. For me, it's just a pressure. So when I move it over here, and when I hit my Americana or my Kimura and the like, it's definitely making it a lot stronger for me. So again, as soon as you lock up, pull them in and start trapping. Through here, we can start to go for whichever side that we like. We can control, slide in. Oh no, he's sitting up. Through here, okay. When I'm just like this, I'm okay. But again, what I'm finding is in some instances, this motion through here. So if I can almost tuck in, almost like I'm launching myself over that shoulder. Trap the wrist. There you can already see I'm hand to hand, drop, watch my left leg as I draw it back. See, I'm kind of collecting his shoulder, and then through here, this is where this hand literally is just pulling. So as I'm here, this hand is just pulling in its normal power position to bring Hans's hand up into his armpit, which causes high elbow and automatically helps me with my rotation. Let's do side control, and we'll play Americana, which is the exact opposite of Kimura. So if Kimura plays with high elbow. And what does Americana play with?
Low elbow.
Okay. So the elbow position starts to make a difference. Now again, I've been playing with different grips. So when I'm here, one of my favorite setups, it doesn't matter how we get there as long as we get there. One of my favorite setups is punching through, doing a gable grip so that I can drive my elbows to the ground, pick Hans up by his head, do a little Shakira so that I can make this arm expose itself, and then we slide. I like 50-50, so I like my middle finger literally right at where the wrist bends, so that my ring finger and my pinky are getting at the pad through here, and the rest of my hand is onto the wrist. Okay, so now through here, once I've got him, now I draw back slightly. I like the elbow to come up in the air, grab onto the wrist. If I twist, it helps, and compress wrist to shoulder. Most guys won't make it, some ladies do. Okay, through here, you'll feel the pinch out here on the tip of your elbow. Okay, so I'm not twisting him, I'm just compressing. I want his pinky to touch his shoulder. That's my motion. Now, if he taps, he taps. If he doesn't, I could care less. This is just my setup. I want to control him through here, get him in nice and tight, straighten out your arm. He's not going to want to because it kind of hurts. But if he does start to give me a little bit of tension, I let go, I let him move, and I karate chop my own thumb. And again, I cover hand to hand. The Americana is already set. Okay, now through here, if I just do a little push-up, okay, lift up his head with this elbow, lift him up through here, I'm already done. Now if I shave, remember what we talked about. When you see motion, that is traction leaving the road. What's his hips doing?
Raising.
They're raising up. That's him trying to get rid of pain. Okay? When you see motion happening, okay, that is traction leaving the pavement. That is horsepower that is now no longer functional. Okay? Tire squeal, when you hear a car, tire squeal is exactly that. That is power now that's going off somewhere else. It's not doing its job. Okay? Now, through here, what makes most of this possible is when I have my grip and I slide in, I karate chop literally my thumb, okay? And then once I'm here and I cover, all of my pressure is now going directly to Hans's wrist to control it. That's why this grip over here, it's not wrong, okay? But it doesn't give me the same power. You can play with your partner. Do the traditional Kimura grip and feel what happens, okay? And then pressure down and cover and feel what happens, okay? Traditional grip, I will not be able to tap Hans without shaving the head. With the palm covering palm grip, okay, I'm tapping Hans without shaving his head because it's already so tight. Because what I found is, okay, when we're talking into our different techniques, Kimura and Americana, they are yin and yang, okay? When here, my best position is his pinky on the ground, but specifically that bone. Okay, if I do that, he's in a lot of trouble. When I go Kimura, I want his thumb to be more towards the ground. When I do Kimura, his thumb is more my pressure. When I go the opposite, his pinky is more my pressure. Okay, so again, I'm just going to play right from the end. Okay, so traditional, look at his thumb. Pinky, thumb, pinky, okay, not there, here. I do that. Now also, when I'm in, this hand is already in a straight line. Straight line is power. Anything that goes in a curvature, okay, the curvature, not that it can't have power, but the power's in the straight line. That's why most people wipe out on curves. because the power wants to go in a straight line and you have to fight it to stay in the curve. So when I'm here, all I do is draw in the straight line. So you see my hand here, my elbow comes in, hits his side, I'm still flat. Now I pick it up and I travel to his belly button. So I'm going to go slow, but if I did need, I'm here, I stay flat first, pinky on the ground, I draw him in, and then if I need to, then I pick up. I don't go, and try to do it from here, okay? Low elbow, I draw it in, and if I still can, then I draw up. So one more time. So I go into my shoulder staple, get my Shakira, and there's his wrist. So now I lean forward and I draw back. 2 on 1, compress. If he resists, oh no. Right here. If I pick up his head, he's already feeling it. This wrist is already elevated. Okay. So now when I shave, nothing leaves. Like I said, every wiggle he does is him trying to get the power to go away, to change somewhere. Okay, and that's why, like when we did the Kimura, I walked a little bit more up to his shoulder, because when we go for the Kimura and I start to crank, what do we see him do? We see him start to sit up. We see him start to turn his shoulders to try it. So if we can stop that, okay, then it gets better. Okay, but try it through here. Like I said, it is for me, it's kind of important that I come in, I swim inside, and I literally karate chop my own thumb. Okay, and then the whole assembly goes to the floor, and then I just cover my own hand. But the pressure never goes away. Okay, through here, even without shaving his head, if I just do a little push up at that point, like a little diamond push up, his head lifts, he already feels the bone of my wrist is already inside of his tricep, and at that point, the pressure on the shoulder is already pretty significant without even shaving the head and going conventional. Give a shot. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I know.
From this position, I actually hit it quite a bit. It's kind of overlooked by a lot of people, but again, my karate chop has a reason. Okay? My bologna has a first name. But my karate chop has a reason. It's not just to put pressure here. It's when I put my pressure here, I can switch my grips whenever I feel like it. Okay, so I'm just going to go towards the end. So let's say I've got Hans here, and I was inside. There's my compression. Again, I swim, and right here, my top hand is touching my thumb. So now I make my karate chop. This karate chop is way better. If I just did this, okay, this would be conventional. What pressure do you feel?
Elbow.
Okay. What do you feel?
Elbow, shoulder.
Okay. Just this alone is already switching what he feels. The karate chop by itself is enough so that when I'm here, okay, and I'm going in and I lock him up, okay, I can switch to a one-handed variation, okay, which is actually very powerful. Okay, and then this is where if I can't break him with the one-handed variation, which I actually find to be almost easier than all of it, because this hand now is free to do other stuff. Okay, if I did my job earlier and my Shakira already opened up, okay, then I'm holding on through here. Okay, now I start to expose his head, so that now I can start exposing him for setups for north-south chokes. Wow. I am tapping his arm.
It's a ghost.
Your walkie-talkies are on and somebody's on your line.
Yeah. But you'll find the one-handed Americana actually to be very easy to do. It's pretty easy, pretty quick. Similarly, Americana and Kimura from mount notoriously suck.
Mm.
Okay, if you're in mount and you go for Americana, most cases you're not going to finish it. You're probably going to get oopad over,
Mm.
or they're going to step in, maybe even start to go to leg entanglements, things of that nature. Kimura, notoriously speaking, that's why I backstep to side control, so I can finish my Kimura in side control rather than in mount.
Mm.
But even in mount, if I'm in, I get my grapevines in, I'm going after Hans. This is one of the safest
Mm.
Americanas that you're going to be able to do from mount. Super effective, okay, and it's not impossible. It makes it really difficult for Hans to defend. Okay, so let's play with the one-handed variation from side control, and then play with it from mount. And again, I think you're going to find a lot of success with the one-handed Americana from mount.